Welcome back to Where is the Money? So the latest layoffs go to Booz Allen Hamilton. Booz Allen Hamilton, they plan to lay off 2,500 employees. They are a Fortune 500 contracting consulting firm. Their biggest client is the federal government by way of being a federal contractor. So due to Trump tariffs and Doge cutbacks, they are now downsizing because the money is not coming in now.
And there seems to be this sense in the market, at least among investors, that you're going to have Doge coming in, you're going to see cuts to government spending, you're going to see layoffs potentially within the public sector, and a lot of disruption. And so investors have been taking that as perhaps a negative for government IT services companies and contractors like Booz Allen Hamilton. Is that a real risk here, or are there potentially tailwinds when we are talking about things like efficiency and productivity and cutting government workers, which perhaps means outsourcing to contractors?
You know, the way we see it is change is necessary, right? It's not that we're doing the wrong things as a country, it's just we're doing the right things too slowly. And Doge is positioned to act as an accelerator. So we want them to succeed, we need them to succeed.
Is this a good thing or a bad thing? Obviously, it's not good in the sense that more people are going to an already stressed job market that isn't really helping too many people right now get more steady employment, let alone any. But is this turmoil and all of these layoffs necessary for a correction in the economy that needs to happen? Now, speaking of layoffs and the correction in the economy that happens, the ebbs and flows every few decades, let's kind of hear it from a person that's kind of been through this before. A lot of us might not be old enough to have been through this with different presidents that put forth policies that drastically cause layoffs and corrections in the economy that affects millions of people, but create whole new industries. So this person has apparently been through these situations under a few presidents and was personally affected. And let's see what we can learn and take away from their experiences.
Layoffs. Let's get into the whole topic of layoffs. Seen a lot of y'all out here putting your I just got laid off today video. First, understand, I've been there. I was making $82,000. Bill Clinton had a balanced budget act, which was Medicare reform, cost me my job. Companies, you're an individual, you're a number. You see these guys making these companies aren't loyal videos, whatever. They're not. And then people get pissed off saying, we didn't have any warning. Well, what are they going to do? You think they're going to come to you 3 months before they're going to, let's not call it layoffs, before firing you and say, hey, John, you've done a great job. You've been with us for 10 years, but in 3 months from now, we're going to have to fire you because we're making cuts. But we still need you to keep doing a great job. Why would a company do that? Because they need you for the next 3 months. Most likely you're going to be looking to get another job, and you're going to be pissed off, and you're not going to be doing a very good job, nor are you going to care for your remaining 90 days. So companies are not going to give you notice. In my case, I actually did have about a 45-day notice. You know, we knew because of the bill that passed in the House and Senate that it was going to eliminate tens of thousands of healthcare jobs, and it did. And I went out and took a new job, that paid me about $22,000 a year. So I ended up working 3 jobs until things got better. Okay. Grant, the turn of the 20th century, not the 21st century. My grandparents, many of your all's grandparents and great-grandparents, we come into the Industrial Revolution. You know, before cars, the mode of transportation was horse and buggy. The automobile was invented, and horse and buggy people were, they were like, this was the end of the world. It was technology moving forward. It destroyed the horse and buggy industry, but look what we got. We got the automobile. You all have griped about AI coming taking jobs for years. I've probably heard it for at least a decade. Well, now that day's here. But going back to the 20th century, that was when we had our industrial revolution boom, okay? Steel, we manufactured everything. We had steel, we had coal, we had aluminum, you name it, we made it. Those were the jobs that our railroad, those were the jobs that our parents and grandparents worked at and made and raised families on, what they used to call middle class, okay? When NAFTA was passed during Clinton's time, and Ross Perot was standing there on stage saying, well, you know, if you're a business owner and you got to pay a guy $14 an hour and health benefits and overtime, explaining that the health benefits was the most expensive part of doing business. Or you can go south of the border and pay a guy $1 an hour, no health benefits, no retirement. You're going to hear a giant sucking sound. Ross Perot literally was the first Donald Trump, and we didn't elect him. For those of you that remember Ross Perot, it would be amazing to see what would have happened back then had he been put in. Of course, I know I'm doing Monday morning quarterback. Anyway, so going all through the 20th century, you know, we get through past the Great Depression, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Now people say things after Jimmy Carter were bad. Things after Jimmy Carter was real high inflation is what Jimmy Carter did. You know, a good car loan interest rate was 15, 17% in the 80s. Then, after Clinton gets in, these jobs, all the jobs that raised your grandparents and your great-grandparents and your aunts, uncles, great-aunts and uncles, slowly got eliminated. They got moved overseas. That's why every time you pick up the phone to call customer service, they don't speak English. Okay? My state, I grew up in Kentucky and West Virginia, big in coal and steel. My grandfather worked in steel. All those jobs were eliminated. The steel plant, which used to be called Armco Steel, bought out by, I think it was the Japanese, AK Steel, is now gone. Up here in West Virginia, we had aluminum, we had steel, gone. Our population decreased as people left the state. Coal, gone. West Virginia, big coal state. Now you've got Trump. Don't blame this on Trump. This is not Trump. Trump is bringing back an economic boom. The Industrial Revolution is coming back to this country. Right here where I live, in a county that had a peak, the county, not a city, had a peak population of about 28,000. That's a big land area too. They guesstimated about 21,000. They are now expecting that population to triple over the next 10 years. Why? Nucor Steel is building a huge plant about 10 miles down the road. There's a hyperscale AI data center. This will be one of the largest. Next to it is a hydrogen production facility to produce the alternative green power to run this place. There'll be about 4,000 plus construction jobs. We'll have to have new businesses, Starbucks, housing, all sorts of new types of jobs, new technology jobs. You people out there in Silicon Valley that have any type of computer tech programming, cybersecurity is going to, I'll tell you right now, you want to know where the future is going to be? Cybersecurity. That's going to be one. Coding is going to be another. Remember when, was it Hillary Clinton said go learn to code, or was it Obama? One of them two did. So you tech people, even if it's not in your lane, you've already got the basis for the future and can just go kind of modify your training a little bit and probably do well. But really what I would tell you is, if your job left, look and see where it went. Where is the new boom? Most of you lefties, I hate to tell you this, California, your Silicon Valley, New York City, big industry. Well, that little stunt that they pulled with suing Trump scared about every future entrepreneur there was. So data centers, which is going to be the future, are not coming to your area. Why? One, because you scared everybody with that lawfare. Two, your cost of doing business is way too damn high. I credit Governor Justice for getting everybody here. Not only do we have great location, water, we got natural resources. We got a shitload of natural gas, which is what they use at these facilities. Plus, our property is inexpensive. Cost of living is inexpensive. Now, I don't like the state tax because you can't never get your state income tax correct, and you always end up owing damn money. But that's what it is. Every few decades, there's a realignment, so to speak, and jobs are totally eliminated. I was in it. I went through it. I had to start over. You adapt to the situation, okay? Don't sit around feeling sorry for yourself. Your employer does not care about you. They care about you as long as you're there doing what they need you to do and they're making money. But the bottom line is companies want to make more money. And if they can cut their staff, they're going to cut their staff. But what Trump is doing is he's incentivizing business, corporations, local and foreign, to build here, return jobs here. We lost many, many, many jobs. Just my layoff back in 1999 created tens of thousands of losses across the country. And we had to adapt and shift out of the area we were working and go into other areas. And I did fine. I just went through a rough road initially. You can get through this, but you got to look, number one, and see, where did your tech move to? Because I tell you what, it's not in California. They're leaving California. That state's dying. And it's not New York City. If you need new training, get it. In the meantime, support your family, get whatever job you can. Might need 2 jobs.
Now, keep in mind, this person is a conservative, so that may or may not create their bias or perspective on what they're saying, but just try to keep it to the facts. He's been through it. He was making $80,000 a year. That got cut and laid off due to policies. He went to making, $20,000, $30,000 a year, got 2 jobs just to make it through, and he feels like he's better on the other side. Okay, that seems similar to the way things are right now. He doesn't give blame to Trump. He is just pushing the button on the correction, and he feels it was going to happen anyway. And that supposedly is going to bring manufacturing back to the United States. What we see far as the UK tariffs and the China tariffs and the tariffs on all these different other countries, the goal sounded like it was to bring manufacturing back, but some of the deals he's allegedly making or potentially making doesn't seem like that's actually bringing manufacturing back. And the process of that could take multiple years, even a decade, to be done effectively.
How feasible is it to reshore manufacturing?
It's very difficult to reshore manufacturing, but you would need a few things to take a shot at it. I mean, the main thing you have to do is put yourself in the shoes of a CEO or management team of a large company that's trying to figure out where they want to build a manufacturing plant. And the way Trump has rolled out these tariffs has not been productive at all, in that if you're going to make a decision to reshore or build your supply chain here, that's not an overnight or quick decision. You're looking at 2 to 3 years before your new factory might have a chance of being productive and online. And so then what's the payback period on that factory? It's going to be an additional, let's call it 5 to 10 years. So you need visibility of closer to 6 to 15 years to be able to make an intelligent manufacturing decision. And does anyone have any confidence that the tariffs are going to be here in 6 months, let alone 6 years? So when I was talking to various CEOs, they say, look, I don't have any confidence. And so when they make a decision. What you're not seeing is investment and reshoring among American firms. What you're seeing is disinvesting. And this is exacerbated by the fact that these tariffs don't happen in a vacuum, that if we declare tariffs on China, then China declares tariffs on us, and then American manufacturers, if anything, end up cutting back. And you're seeing that out of various firms where they're announcing, whether it's Mack Truck or other manufacturers, saying, hey guys, there's going to be less demand for our stuff, so we're not going to need as many workers. So if your goal is to create manufacturing employment, you have to know that you can't do something unilaterally because it ends up provoking a response.
So in the meantime, it's going to be a lot of uncertainty in the stock market, the job market, employment, interest rates. Everything across the board is going to be all out of whack due to that supposed correction that needs to happen. That's assumed it's done correctly, which that is debatable by most. So you tell me, do you feel like the layoffs and all that we're experiencing right now based on this other person's account and have been through it, this is just the way things go? Put your comments below. Let's talk about it. This is Where is the Money? Talk to you soon.